good because it must have been a misunderstanding. It was okay.
But you know what? I didn't
mean to make it sound bad, but I was like, it's totally fine. I mean, it's okay. I figured it out. Yeah.
What are you playing now? I feel like I want to play, but also I want to watch.
Yeah. You know?
Me playing is affecting my fan, like. What haven't find it? You know it's going to get
Better high five? Yes. You're on a lot of things. I think you want to call it title war. Try a lot of part of it. Everything a lot of it. All right. I know. I'm one of the biggest horse out there.
That is so funny.
I get around.
Hey guys, miss you? Yes, all good.
Yeah.
How's your match? Okay. Let's go. Back is okay? Good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely. I'm going to strain it. Well, that you got to look at it. I mean, it wouldn't be normal. Real guys.
Oh, he's getting better. All right, Florentina, let's hit you. Okay.
On. Stevie het alles uit die kar wat jy nodig het, hè? Jy gee ry na water? Johan. I got you guys. Perfect. I better get a ladder. Ball or not yet? Oh man, how you doing? Thanks, man. Of course, I walked on the wrong side of the net. I do.
Alright, they probably need another warm-up ball, right?
I'll take one if you have one. I have 3 on me.
You got 3 new ones?
I have 3 brand new balls.
Alright, so you give them
Only
one
7 games.
You give one to start, a new one to start, and then you have 3 backup.
Got it. Thank you very much.
I'll get a warm-up ball.
Thank you. Martin?
Yeah?
You want to just put your bag on the other side?
Is there water around
Yeah.
here?
Huh?
Yeah.
Water around here?
It's what? What do you mean?
Water?
Oh, I don't know. That's not an official. Is Blake coming today? Yeah? Hey, are your parents can stream this? Okay.
Another warm-up ball.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready to climb up. job here this morning? Come on, man. I got him. I think you might have a better grip of him.
What? Yeah.
Just hold the ladder. Just hold the ladder.
What's that?
Just hold it.
Yeah, I got you.
Good.
Yeah. Once you are. Huh?
Yeah, I got it.
Good.
All set here.
Live stream testing 1 2 testing 1 2. Check. Live stream testing 1 2 testing 1 2. Check. Let me know when you guys are ready to spin, and I'll do introductions, okay? No, I don't need it. Yeah, I have 3 new balls. I have a ball. I have a. Blake, you guys won the toss. Who's gonna serve? You start. Ball. Ball's warmed up. All right. Can I get you guys' attention just for a second? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Darien Grand Prix. This is a men's quarterfinal match. On my right, playing out of Union, New Jersey, Martin Bostrom, and his playing partner, playing out of Berkeley Heights, New Jersey, Blake Anderson. On my left, playing out of Wayland, Massachusetts, Johan Darient, and his playing partner, playing out of Natick, Massachusetts, Stephen Mitchell. Gentlemen, play well.
All right, well, welcome everyone to our first Grand Prix of the season, the Darien Open, brought to you by national sponsors, Viking Fusion and Upswing Health. I'm Brad Eastbrook alongside Mark Fischel, bringing you the men's quarterfinal match. Just
morning, Bradford.
Good morning, Mark.
So let's take a look at our players. The top of the screen, Martin Bostrom, the dark blue to purple cover, and his partner Blake Anderson. And there, Darient gets the lead court winner. He's in the right court in the light blue shirt. Out of the picture now, there he is, and his partner Stephen Mitchell. The last time we were doing a match, Brad, we were watching them win the national championship here at CCD.
Yeah, they had a great run, terrific season.
Love 40.
Oh, Darient with some amazing hands.
Incredible hands. I think we're going to see more of that this year. The Mitchell return is huge, and with Durant's speed and ability to volley.
15-40.
It's a good combination.
Playing the I formation there against Darient. You think the switch in the backcourt for Darient Mitchell was intentional there, Brad?
Well, they can move completely fluidly, so for them it's hard to even know, but I think so, yes, because they're going to keep giving him different looks.
A little bit of a wild forehead there from Mitchell.
40.
And when Darient's in the backhand court, they're going to be pounding that middle of the court there. They're going to get Mitchell to overcommit.
Yeah, so far, they got to hit everything basically to their backhands. Any forehand that they're getting isn't the right play. Great comeback from Bostrom Anderson after 3 huge points to start the match.
Advantage, Bostrom.
That's a great backhand from Bostrom.
Bostrom has one of the best backhands in the game.
Game, Bostrom Anderson.
Let's talk about Bostrom for a little bit, Bradford. He was an assistant of
Anderson
yours.
lead the first set.
Long been one of the most talented players in the game. Hasn't made that breakthrough. Last year they had a spectacular match with Burris and Ordoya in the quarters at match point to make the semis, but he's never made a semi in nationals.
Well, you can say they might have last year because there was a ball that we in the booth thought was out that they played on their match point. So they didn't go to the semis, but there's a good chance they would have. But the talk on the street really is that Bostrom has upped his game to another level, and he should be considered one of the best players in the game. But I think it's all been just discipline, but I see it now in the last couple of years. That I think he can easily make the semis this year and even win a national.
Those are the types of errors we saw way too many from him in past years, which he's really gotten rid of.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there was one right there, but you're absolutely right.
And the forehand, while thumping, isn't as effective as the backhand in my mind, because the backhand's so hard to read off his paddle.
You know, I've played Martin a ton of times. It is impossible to read it. You really don't know if he's going to slide it down the line, hook it off your right hip, left hip. And he has incredible pace, meaning it's easy pace. He doesn't swing hard at all, and yet the ball comes quickly at you.
Yeah, that's a good comment. What kind of strategy do you think you're going to see here from Anderson Bostrom in the backcourt, Brad?
You know, in the backcourt, I think that one of the keys is
15 all.
you got to make Mitch play as many overs as you can. You cannot let Durant get in that groove with the shot. His cut overheads. Beautiful play.
A little bit of impatient early play from Durant Mitchell.
A little quick.
30 all.
That's 15-40.
No, I'm saying, excuse me, correction.
It is.
15-40.
Good call, Mark. See that lob there that you see both lobs down the line trying to get Mitchell to hit these overheads.
30-40.
Oh,
Deuce.
two missed errors there. Bostrom.
Advantage.
Mark, I love
Bostrom
how
Anderson.
Anderson played that rolling serve from Mitchell. He took it moving forward and put the blitz on it.
I always felt like the warm weather was not to Durant's advantage. Harder to put the
make
ball away.
die. Right.
You always wonder with Durant, the only weakness he has is that willingness to play the long points.
Yeah, which has been completely,
Deuce.
mostly gone away
Yes,
in the last 2 years since he started playing with Mitchell.
saying it was Parsons' fault?
Nope, just saying it's a different attitude
Advantage. Mitchell.
that somehow Durant is bringing to the table. So yes, it was Parsons' fault.
It's a good blitz.
Game. Durant
Now,
Mitchell.
Araya Parsons were the one team that
First
were
set
really
tied, 1
effective
game
against
apiece.
that sidearm serve last year. Blitzing behind it. You saw Blake Anderson doing it there and he misses it.
It's a good
I think
play,
that's
though.
a good play.
Let's talk a little bit about that understated
Love
serve. What's the
15.
purpose of it, Mark?
Keep the ball low. Make it harder to drive.
That's right, and that's the basic purpose. You can get in so
Love
you feel like you get
30.
a drive that is coming flatter, not downward as much. But it's not a penetrating serve that pushes you back. So you can get moving forward on it. If you can
30.
get on top of it, it's a good ball to blitz on.
Great volley there from Anderson. You can see the swings they're getting on his serve. Speaking of serves, Brad, hopefully next time Bostrom serves, we're going to get to see his new serve.
Yeah, he's got a special one that he's going to bring out. No spoilers.
15-40.
We'll see. We'll see if he brings it out. Actually.
Oh. I think that ball hit Bostrom.
Game, Darient, Mitchell. Darient, Mitchell lead the first set, 2-1.
That was an incredible forehand from Darient.
15-30, all.
So first 3 games, what do you think, Mark?
It's a little bit fast for Anderson Bostrom. I think the faster the play, the worse it's going to go for him.
And we haven't seen even the Darient overhead come out yet. The cutters. There's a
15,
sun miss.
love.
See, if you follow the shadows, that's coming right in from that side, got right into Bostrom's eyes there. Good pace from Bostrom.
15 all.
Brad, do you think everybody's going to be serving sidearm in 3-4 years?
Certainly everybody's working on it now. I think the key will be people will become more facile with all the serves. Break that out at times when they feel it's necessary and go for the overhead heavy spinner. So take a guy like one of our seeded teams here, Sven Burish from Bostrom Doya. He's got a great serve. I don't see him going to the underhand.
But he's got a great serve to the backhand. The forehand less so.
Less so, but it's not bad. He swings it, moves it from side to side on the box.
I mean, Darient had one of the best serves in the country. He's completely abandoned it. Although we did see him in nationals a couple times last year. Get a little tight with the sidearm serve and go overhand.
I think that's what we're going to see, is people just have the ability to do both. And that's sort of the way the game sort of moved, Mark, right? People can do more things now.
Yeah, tremendous variety.
They're starting to warm up those cutters.
That was clever overhead.
That's a terrific spot.
40.
But then Mitchell gets caught out of position a little bit there. Had to be sliding to his right. Mitchell looks a little shaky early, Brad. Brad, we want to correct an earlier score. Hughes Powers won the first set and the match against Cochran Hansen. LePavere and Protsenko are also through.
I think it went in.
30,
Yeah, I think it
40.
don't even think it was close.
Yeah, Anderson called Bostrom off, who was going to come in and hit that high volley. And he listened, unfortunately.
Or fortunately for Darient Mitchell.
Correct. Guess it's all about your point of view, right?
It's all about perspective, Brad. And there's some of that variety we talked about with the Bostrom backhand.
Game. Bostrom,
There was a
Anderson.
ball in that game, Brad, that
First
Bostrom
set
could have
ties,
driven,
2
came off
games
the back
apiece.
wires, came pretty far out, and that was the discipline he had to lob that ball.
He's getting that hip on him, though. He's going to have to move over a little.
15, love.
Another miss from Darien. Yeah, I would say that Anderson Bostrom are the best 29th ranked team in the country I've ever seen. I mean, they're a legitimate top 10, top 5 team.
Oh,
You
I
agree,
would say
Brad?
top 5 for sure. Top 10, absolutely. And they're knocking on the door of the top 4 without a doubt. So you got the top 4 seeds here.
30, love.
Durant, Mitchell, Hughes, Powers, Araya Parsons, and Burrisherdoya. I mean, they can beat any one of those teams.
And as
40,
you accurately pointed
love.
out, pretty much did beat Burrish or Doyle last year in the quarterfinals of nationals. Blake Anderson had an ankle injury and they played very little paddle together last year. I don't think they got 3 tournaments in.
Oh, that's
Great
it. So there
cutter
you go.
from Bostrom.
Bostrom, Anderson.
Bostrom looks
Bostrom.
very comfortable.
Bostrom, Anderson lead the first set, 3 games to 2.
He has every one of the shots. There's no question Bostrom can hit the cutter. People don't talk about it. You know, you always talk about Araya's cutter or, you know, Durant's cutter. But he has just as good a finishing cutter as a lot of players.
Agreed. Great forehand there from Anderson. Bostrom calls his own
15,
ball wide
love.
there. Great sportsmanship. There's one of the big changes in the game of the last 10 years, Brad. You see Durant poaching at the net, which is something 10, 15 years ago you never saw. And now all the guys are so active in the middle.
Yeah, it used to be taught not to poach. That is your partner's ball to get that ball back in the day. But the reality is the returns are too good. You need about 10 different service strategies. So you're going to see most of the teams out here tell their partner where they're going to serve. You see the player at the net point his finger one direction or another to indicate where the partner should serve, and then they're going to have moves at the net to keep the backcourt team guessing. Good ball.
15, all.
The other issue too is that down the line ball is so much easier to retrieve off the back wire and potentially drive back. You don't mind that one so much.
No, and usually too, and it happens oftentimes from the ad court where the guys cutting across. It's an easy forehand drive if it comes off the screen hard.
30,
Anderson's
15.
not going to be happy with that one.
30, all. Advantage, Bostrom Anderson.
So a couple of fast starts. Hunter Sabori up 3 love over Kruz Nicolescu. And Andrekova, not Sabori, Andrekova and Nika are up 5-love over Sakura and Morgan.
Big points here.
I think I'd heard the umpire score the 6-1 for Nika Andrekova first set. Once we get our cameras working, we'll give you a sneak peek at some of the other matches. You should be able to watch them ultimately on the multiple channels the APTA is providing you on YouTube.
Great job of Anderson and Bostrom being patient here, and you saw it.
Advantage,
point.
Bostrom
I was
Anderson.
writing them down. There were 6 down the line lobs to Mitchell there. It's a great blitz. What hands?
But just stealing, staying in that point. They were in trouble.
Yep, terrific hands. Unbelievable.
So Brad, you've competed pretty high level. Johan Durant, the best athlete you've ever competed against?
He's a freakish athlete for sure. You know, his ability to move, his quick power, he's long, gets around the court incredibly. Oh, he goes for the offensive winning volley, but you gotta volley that ball down, not deep. You gotta angle your paddle down if you're that close to the net. You punch it behind him.
And those are the points that determine who win and who lose paddle matches.
Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those shots. If you miss it, you're gonna say, "Hey, shouldn't have done that."
But there was so little reward. The risk reward wasn't there.
Durant.
But there you go.
So they
That's
go
like
from
a
having
First set tied. 3
break
games
point, and then
apiece.
they just make 3 quick errors right in a row.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. 2 missed
Killer.
returns and a missed volley.
Killer. I mean, and they had a rhythm going there. They were playing great points. That's a good ball. Mitchell easily handled from Durant. Off his back heels.
Love
No point
15.
really hitting that shot, I think.
Again, it's gotten a little fast for Bostrom Anderson. If you're going to play fast against Johan Durant, you're going to finish second. Every time you see Durant have to step over into Mitchell's side of the court, you know they've hit a good lob. And that's what Blake Anderson's trying to do. And there you see him there.
Yep. Sliding over. Nice little blitz move.
Anderson likes to do that.
That's the ball. Ha!
That makes Anderson 0 for 2, calling off his partner.
Positive side is they got that level of trust, so that's great.
You and Suzette like that, Brad?
Well, I've never had to call her off an overhead, so
But she trusts you, I'm sure.
she would trust me implicitly, of course. That's a great ball. What you see in here is perfect transition paddle. Players recognizing when to close in on the net, when to give up the net. That's a heck of a shot.
Beautiful little chip. Finds Anderson's right hip.
15-30.
And that's just a great point.
Mitchell does such a good job of spotting that forehand.
Yeah, I would say, you know, that big spot forehand from him and his ability to spot volley were 2 of the engines that brought him to the national championship last year. That combined with
The
Durant's,
third through 10th were Durant.
yeah, cut overheads, his ability to affect change, but those 2 things were like rock solid.
So amazing the shift in Durant's game after 2 or 3 years of just apparent disinterest in the game. I remember when they lost in the semis of Philly in 2017, he just looked like he didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, he had had enough people trying to slow play him, and he would just try to end points in ridiculous fashion, whereas now he combines his shots and he's still willing to get out there, but he's combining his shots to apply constant pressure.
But he's now clearly the best player in the game, and nobody's really even second. He's so far removed.
30.
Yeah, his level last year was incredible.
2-1 Boris Erdoya first set with Le Pavere Protsenko. You see the variety on the Durant overhead. The roller, the deep cut, the short cut.
Advantage, Durant Mitchell.
Got to take Bostrom to task on that one. He knows that he's hit himself in the head. Wrong
Deservedly
shot.
so.
Off-pace backhand one-hander from him. Of 50 shots he has, that's number 52.
And that's being kind. Honestly, I think he should have hit himself all harder.
The old, if you remember the Michael Usney tennis days, the way he would hit himself in the head.
Great get there from Bostrom.
He's going roller, cutter, keeping him moving, keeping him off balance. Beautiful combination.
Durant
Little swings
Mitchell
here.
lead the
Bostrom
first
Anderson
set.
swung off 2 in a
5
row. Then they
games
had those,
off
it's
GP.
those
4
micro
games to
moments,
3.
and then they lost the game mark in
Guys, we have a ball change.
basically 10 seconds, right? And now all of a sudden 2 games in a row for Durant Mitchell.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, they had game point, or break
Randt.
point on Mitchell's serve, and Anderson poaches unnecessarily, misses a ball, and then boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, he goes for the winner when they weren't winning their points trying to go for the winner, right? They were trying to play the right shot and then going for the
Check
shot at
that
the
ball,
moment,
please,
creating
for
an
me.
error versus going for the winner. And that's
Okay, 4
usually a
games,
good
3 guys
way
play.
to think about it. You rarely want to hit a lot of winners. You're trying to win points, but trying to go for a winner unless you have that cut short overhead that you know you can make, not so easy all the time.
It's also about sticking with your game plan, and their game plan has to be slow. Their Bostrom gets a great forehand, but for the most part, they want to be the team that's slowing the play down.
love 15.
More so for sure. They don't want to get into too many transition battles. It doesn't mean that Anderson can't blitz or Bostrom can't rip that forehand when he's got the
No,
right
of
ball to
course.
hit. It's just got to be the right ball.
I think the Suns had a major factor so far, Brad. A lot
Not
of
that I've
games
seen.
won by the,
15.
but
Oh.
a lot of games won by the team on the non-Sunny side.
You know, I just haven't seen a lot of balls missed because of the sun yet that I've seen, and it's getting more to the side, but look, you're right. So clearly a pattern. Oh, that's just amazing.
Such a good view we had of Durant cheating to the middle and Bostrom beating him there.
Yeah, and that's okay because Durant is making a calculated risk, meaning he's going to move to the center to cut off a volley. If it goes behind, he knows Mitchell has his back. And one of the things you'll see from top teams, Mark II, is this ability to stand on the baseline or inside sometimes. You see their position, not behind the baseline, but up. So even when he's blocking the balls back, he's doing it quicker. It's creating just a little faster, makes it harder for the net team to get back, gives them possible blitz opportunities.
15,
Now, I
30.
didn't love that one. And of the shots that he has, I always think the more Durant blitzes dinks, the worse it is. He'll get a
Worse
few.
it is for
but-
Durant.
Yes, the worse it is for Durant, right. He'll get a few, but he wins points more other ways. It keeps the guy off balance, though, I will say.
And that's a shot we've seen far less from him than in his disinterested period that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely, where he was just cat and mouse, just toying.
Boy, that thumping sound of the ball off of Bostrom's paddle.
Little roller there. He's using a lot of variety on his drives.
6-1 for Hannes Zabori.
Good for them.
Cruz Nicolescu.
You know, the one thing
30 all.
is Cruz and Nicolescu. It can't be that easy. They won 6-2, 6-2, but it was still some fighting points in there. You know, it's not easy to get your competitive legs back underneath
Advantage, Darient.
I look for Hannes Zabori to be a real force on the tour this year. I think that's a great combination.
They are seeded first for a reason.
And this is their first tournament together.
But as you mentioned off air when we were talking before, Mark, they played the whole summer together in Summer League paddle and got a good chance to really
Darient, Mitchell lead
work
the
together and
first
see
set.
how their skills matched
5
up.
games to 3.
Just a couple of misses creeping into the Anderson-Bostrom game here.
Yep.
It's cost them.
You know, and some of the great coaches will say you're looking to drive that ball to the service line. Those backhands that Bostrom missed, they're a little low.
15.
You know, the best you can hit there is a probing drive with spin. It's got to go over the net. You can't try to keep it low. Oh, that is just a huge return.
Well,
Generous call.
Wide. Yeah.
I thought it was too, but I think it's a generous call from Bostrom,
Love
and I think
30.
Darient called it out.
50. Oh, we did. Okay. 15 all.
Okay, look at the
Thank you.
grip here, Bradford.
Yep.
It's in the... Wow.
To the roller. First one we've seen from him.
15-30.
Just can't afford to do that at this level.
The question is, will we see the Bostrom surprise serve?
I think at 15-40, if they lose this point, we got a shot.
15-40.
15-40.
Double set point.
Nope,
Nope,
going to
looks
the
like he's
overhand.
going overhand.
Bostrom has a very good serve also, but you see they're crushing them. That's four.
I would say that nobody has a very good serve in 55, 60 degree weather. Just less of a liability.
Toughest shot. That's a good cutter. Nicely played, Barm Anderson.
Oh, it's like a 747 up there. Bostrom had a great forehand drive. Looked like they were about to take control of the point, and Darient just stuck his arm out. Made another great volley. Bradford, what type of challenges do Anderson-Bostrom present when they're switching like this in the backcourt?
No, this is great. I mean, both players can hit it off both
30,
sides.
40.
Anderson's forehand's better than his backhand, but the Bostrom backhand in the middle just creates a whole myriad of problems for the backcourt team. Because he can cut it off and he swings it both places. And it allows Anderson to go up the side wire to look for balls he can hit down and blitz on.
Look for Darient Mitchell to switch here at the net. Darient overhead in the middle.
You know, as is the case with playing with a guy like Johan Darient, you know, I've heard from numerous people that Mitchell has good spin overheads, a good roller. We're seeing it on display here. But because he's playing with Darient, he's, you know, sort of a little bit relegated to a specific role. Saw him miss that one, though. And they didn't bother to switch back, so.
And that's not to suggest that Mitchell has a bad overhead. It's just Darient's got the best.
Incredible overhead. the way he mixes it up too, because his ability to hold the ball and hit tremendous pace from a very minimal, swing point. It's unrivaled, actually, probably in the game.
We had his big breakthrough in 2010 in Philadelphia. He really came out with that hard overhead like no one had ever seen before.
Yeah, but those weren't the cuts. They were the hard, flat overhead deep in the court, right at the body of the opponent, which is still a good play. But he was doing it so much it actually became a bit of contention for people.
Yeah. And the quarters that year, he hit John Schmidt 8 or 9 times.
And that's being kind.
Another bad miss from Bostrom there at deuce. And he misses that one, and that's the set.
Game. Durant Mitchell.
There it is. There were a
Durant
lot
Mitchell
of good
win
things
the
from
first
Bostrom
set.
Anderson sprinkled
6
in with
games
just
to 3.
3-4 bad errors.
And that's all it takes to lose a set at this level.
Absolutely. If they could just stay, like you were mentioning before, Mark, to a basic plan, then they'd be well served. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. We'll be back in a few moments.
The world of Rolex is filled with stories of perpetual excellence. Since 1990, the Solheim Cup has elevated women's golf. Team USA challenges Team Europe, upholding the traditions of sportsmanship and teamwork. As the women's game grows, the Solheim Cup will continue to shape its future. This is a story of perpetual excellence, the story of Rolex. The world of Rolex is filled with stories of perpetual excellence. For Rolex and tennis, the tradition began in 1978 and has grown to include the most iconic majors and tournaments since, supporting the legends, champions, and rising stars committed to the future of the game. This is a story of perpetual excellence, the story of Rolex.
All right, welcome back to our men's quarterfinal action on the APTA Network, brought to you by Enet Live, where the #1 seeded team of Mitchell and Randt just won the first set 6-3 against Bostrom and Anderson. So, Mark, what do you think about that set?
We talked a little bit about it, Brad, before we left, but just too many bad errors, mostly from Bostrom. Just gave away a few points. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough.
Yeah, no, I agree exactly. A few spots here and there, and at their one moment, and the crucial moment in the match is when they had a couple of good opportunities. They'd gone up 3-2, they had that break point, and then once they lost those 3 points in a row, it kind of just flipped over from there, and then too many errors.
And that's all it takes at this level.
Great pickup from Mitchell. Ooh.
And you saw Mitchell dart to his right there to take away the right hip.
There it is. Not only that, to give, just the perfect amount of room. That's the wrong shot. A ball lower than the net.
15
Hitting up at Durant, trying to swing it off of him to hit a perfect line. That is just the wrong play.
30-15. All.
Hunter Saburi up 2-love, second set over Cruz Nicolescu. They are rolling.
Advantage.
And Morgan
Mitchell.
Sikora, after a fast first set, are up in the second, 3-2. This is a fast game, Brad. Faults, bunch of missed returns. But Brad, when your partner, oh, what a volley
Game.
from
Mitchell,
Durant.
Durant.
Oh my God, it's like flicked it.
He totally
Mitchell
flicked it.
Durant
I mean,
lead the
and
second
Bostrom
set.
hit exactly
1
the
game to
shot
love.
he wanted, off his right hip, making him flip his paddle from one side to the other, and it was back at his feet before he could even blink.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
That's an incredible shot.
Borussia up 4-3 over Le Pavere Brutsenko.
15, love.
And Borussia Dortmund had quite a season last year, making it to the semifinals and nationals and coming within a heartbeat, basically, of beating Palmer and Broderick.
They were up 5-1 first set before losing it. Won the second, showing their resilience as a team.
Yeah, that's a team where the pieces just fit nicely. And Erdoya, you know, we talk about a lot of forehands. He's got one of the top 3 forehands in the game for sure.
30.
It's pretty automatic, or top 5, whatever you want to say.
And he really came to a new level at Darien last year at Nationals. He had never played like that.
That was incredible.
Some athleticism from Darant just taking over. Again, Bostrom with a
30,
low ball that
15.
you simply can't miss. No reason to try and drive that ball.
You know, if we're going to see these shots, we got to see that other special serve he has.
Can't be any worse than these
30
shots.
all.
Good return there from Mitchell. He's in good position, just hit the volley. Why you have to be so disciplined with Mitchell and Durant. They'll give you a few points here and there, so you got to take those. But of the great shots you make at the right time, Mark, they still volley those back 90% of the time, and sometimes make a great shot back anyway, which is why you can't afford, as you said, to give too many away or make too many wrong choices. You got to be right in there.
I mean, you're not going to beat Darant. You've got to give Darant a chance to beat himself. Because you will get some errors out of him.
Yes, you can get errors out of him. Oh, that's a good transition ball. He just missed it, but Darant was right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would describe that as a good transition ball. If that ball goes over the net, he's going to get beat.
He might. You know, it's hard. That's one of those tough balls where I think teams have to actually get a little better helping their partners. You know, I think actually Anderson should make a call there, tell him to hit it or lob it. That was
advantage.
A great roller. That
Durant
thing landed
Mitchell
inside the service box and then picked up a ton of pace.
Exploded, but the ball that Bostrom's got to put back in the court.
Game, Durant Mitchell.
Well, they're rolling now.
Man, it only takes
Durant
one
Mitchell
bad
lead the
mistake
second
to
set,
lose
2
a game.
games to love. Reminder, Durant Mitchell won first set, 6 games to 3.
Jerry Viant would say the water's going down the drain.
You know, it certainly has been because they've only won 1 out of the last 6 games. You know, but they were up 3-2 at one point.
With a break opportunity.
Yes, with a break opportunity, but there's time left for them to get into the right kind of rhythm, but they're going to have to change it up. And ooh, stumble there from Mitchell. He caught an edge on the court. Little mini
15.
ankle roll.
So, Brad, you're coaching Anderson Bostrom. You get a chance to take him aside here. What are you telling him?
You know, I'm telling him to look
15.
for the one ball.
I love 30.
You know, Bostrom's now hitting any ball at any given time, and I'm telling him to get back to the plan. In the beginning, when they started making their move, they were lobbing well down the line into the right places. And they were able to get and force a couple of errors and even have them, Mitchell and Randt, make a couple of errors, regular balls, and they've just gone away from that. They started hitting too many balls, so they got to look for the ball they can make drive low. You know, hit that ball lower, hit to the service line. If they can't hit the drive to the service line or down at their feet, just don't hit it at this point.
Yep. And it's interesting, Durant Mitchell are not switching at the net. And I wonder if it's a function of stamina and having to play 4 matches.
Yeah, it's an interesting format. I mean, these tournaments now is only 16 draw, right? You know, due to COVID and other things. But 4 matches in one day is a lot.
And winning easily is a big factor in who wins the event.
No question. That's why, Mark, you and I in the booth here, we're already winners.
You got to be a winner somewhere, Brad.
That's a fair point. I feel the same.
But this is a much better tempo.
Oh, like I said,
Bostrom.
that down the line lob is big. There's
So
you
there
go.
you
And
see
that's
the really good lob,
40.
which you pointed out. He pushes him back behind the service line and then hits a ball at his feet. It's a volley he
gets it to the
might
service
miss.
line. That's it. That's the one ball. And if it's not that ball, don't play the shot. And there's the ball that's not going to go to the service
30,
line.
40.
Yeah, so much of the game, as we talked about, is point of contact on your drive. When you're hitting the ball up at this level, you have no chance. You've got to be able to land the ball in the service box when you're driving it.
That's a great cutoff. Ooh! Oh, what a
get from Mitchell.
dig. He was back. He got his feet underneath him. Unbelievable.
Well, Mitchell's some athlete.
I'd also like to see them isolate a little bit. Like, see if they can work somebody into an error. You know, stop slinging the ball around too much. Let's find one spot where it's going to work for us. That's a heck of a cutter there, though.
Bostrom,
Right at the body,
Anderson.
long and low. I'd love to see actually more of that type of shot. That
Durant
long,
Mitchell
deep
lead
ball.
the second set, 2 games to 1.
All right, Bostrom Anderson, get a game.
Yeah, that was important right there.
No, like we were talking about, Mark, it was a 6-game-to-1 run for Durant Mitchell there since that moment, and that was big for Bostrom Anderson to get in there. And I think if they can do what we were talking about, play that one shot, that they can drive at their feet, there's no reason they can't get right back into this match.
Well, they showed a lot more patience there than they had in the previous 6 games.
And they had a couple of right shots, and they just got to keep doing it. Stick with a plan that's going to work for them. Part of the problem is they are so good. Bostrom is so good. He is widely considered one of the most talented players in the game. When you talk to other guys about the guys with a lot of shots who are a little bit fearsome, he's definitely in the conversation.
1-2.
Okay, so
But
now
that-
they really need a hold to serve here. Blake Anderson.
Yeah, they've been returning so well.
Love 15.
Mitchell and Durant. I mean, they're probably one of the best returning teams in the country for sure. Can you think of a better returning team?
Nope. Oh, Blake Anderson with a couple of
Love
sloppy
30.
misses to start the game. Just have to avoid that. This is our first Grand Prix of the season. Next week we'll be in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's
gonna
an
be
exciting
interesting
year.
season.
8 Grand Prix
COVID-19.
this year, Mark.
Yeah, although it may be fewer, Brad, depending on COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19,
Charities.
anything can happen.
Yeah, Chicago Charities is dealing with some issues there. The state of Illinois is not allowing people from out of state to come play.
Whether they fly or drive, right?
Yep.
15-30.
Brad, I have to say you look really good this morning.
It's the lighting.
Of course, you look most good almost all mornings. At least that's what Suzette tells me.
Well, she's being nice. That's a good little cutter.
Really want to see Anderson Bostrom play patient style, wait for the right ball. That's the only way they're going to win this match. The only way they're going to compete.
Well, think on the, count on your hand. You can use all 5 digits, Mark. How many off-pace drives have Anderson and Bostrom won a point on or got? See, you hit the off-pace drive for a reason, right? You hit it in the case that the guy will just miss it randomly, or he'll hit a short ball that you can attack. How many times have they gotten an attacking shot off of their off drives, or those balls that are middle? On one,
I don't think I need more than a finger, Brad.
Yeah, 0. Maybe 1, but 0. So you play those for a reason, and they're not getting it. So put it away for now, right, and find the right ball. I'm not saying they shouldn't hit it, because actually Bostrom's got one of the better off-pace drives there is. Like he probes at you, but he's getting nothing.
3 games to 1.
Yeah, that was a really sloppy game, point where they couldn't afford it.
Yep.
One of the things that makes Darient Mitchell so good is their net all the time. They return so well, and their sidearm serves are difficult to return. So they just constantly have you on the defense, or counterattack, as Jerry Vian would say.
Yeah, but the volleys so well as well. That's the tricky part, right? They're getting you on both sides.
Yeah, we saw that last year in the finals of nationals. Roderick Palmer just couldn't keep the net, and they couldn't hurt him. Those great rollers from Darient.
I love that down the line drive. That's the down the line lob. That's a key shot. But now he's starting to work. Not easy to control that ball that Darient is hitting, because he's putting so much spin on it.
Just 3-4 really good lobs in a row Bostrom's hit.
Yeah, and he's got nothing, which is, you got to, so the old adage, if they hit 10 good overheads, you got to hit 11 good lobs, right?
That's a great roller there from Mitchell.
There's a cutter finish.
Yeah, that started with that great roller from Mitchell.
Yeah, but I can't complain about the point Bostrom Anderson. They were surviving that point. They just couldn't control the lobs because of the overhead pressure from Darient and Mitchell. They were just dealing on those.
30, look.
And one of the interesting things, you were bringing it up before about this year's Grand Prix series, is the regionality of it that it's going to be due to the COVID, Mark. So we're not seeing out here guys like Brian Compton, from Chicago, and some of those great players from Chicago area.
Graham McNerney.
Yep.
Marek Chervinsky.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's been announced officially yet, Brad, but I think we're doing away with the Blanchard and the Children's Cups this year.
It's hard to have them. Yeah, it's hard to have them because of that. You can't get the, the evenness of the competition.
There's only one person from Chicago here this weekend, and that's Allison Morgan.
Mitchell.
So we should talk a little bit about that, Brad.
Yeah.
So the state law requires a negative PRG test prior to coming, and then CCD insisted on another test once they arrived in Connecticut. So appropriate precautions are being taken. Knock on wood, it'll all work out. Okay, Bostrom to serve. Goes sidearm, practicing his sidearm serve. Doesn't look like we're going to get a surprise serve, Brad.
I'd pull it out at this point, and we'll tell you what it is at the end, but just wide. They've been just crushing returns to Randt Mitchell. As you said before, Mark, Bostrom and Anderson cannot get the net.
15 all.
So I think this is all, you think they should be staying back, Brad? Or you think this is just something they got to work on for the rest of the season?
30.
I mean, it's a great point.
55
that-
degrees.
Yeah, no, they could stay back. I mean, it's certainly not a bad idea. There's a missed return
30
finally
all.
from Mitchell. Actually, 2 missed returns this game. He's telling him to serve it down the middle there.
I think you should tell him to serve to Mitchell instead of Darant.
Oh, Mitchell's got a pretty good return too.
Yes, he does, but it's still the second best on the team.
Yep. Look at
See
that.
there,
He-
Darant just lures you into that.
Yes, he saw the space that Darant gave him, so Bostrom took it, and he covers the ground and thumps it right by him. So he's just baiting him into it, and that's the speed and the athleticism of Darant.
But that's where Bostrom's got to be more disciplined. Keep hitting that ball to Mitchell's corner.
Yeah, like I said, I'd like to see them really dial it into specific spots on the court, work one guy over a bunch. That's good long deeps there from Mitchell.
Looks like Hanish and Zabori are through.
Good for
Left
them.
that court.
That's
It's a pretty impressive debut
Pretty-
for that team. Looks like they crushed Cruz Nicolescu.
multiple national champions. Well, great to have them back, but they are literally Darant and Mitchell. The only thing in Bostrom and Anderson's defense is they're getting nothing. They can't get these lobs up enough. They're giving him nothing to hit except these balls that they want him to hit, so they are basically giving him nothing in the backcourt, and they cannot find a way to lob that ball high enough and deep enough, consistently enough to get the looks they want.
One in love.
That's
That is
amazing.
a statement, Brad.
That is
A
amazing.
loud, loud, loud statement.
Honest Savory is an extremely athletic team.
Durant standing on the service line.
There we go. They got a couple of, he got a little brazen there a couple of times, and then they got a few missed returns that game. That was the first game I've seen Darant and Mitchell miss like 4 returns. So
Hanging in there.
hanging in there. Well, you know, at this point, they got to just keep plugging away and hope that continues. You know what I mean? Because Darant and Mitchell, we've said it before, they can go through some error stretches.
And there you see Mitchell hitting a couple of poor overheads, and Bostrom takes advantage. Well, these are the points they're really struggling with when Durant's hitting the overheads. Yeah, there's a ball where he's off balance. He's just got to lob it.
Yeah, it's a tough position. He's moving forward. It's hard to control either the lob or the drive. That's a great overhead from Darant. And then Mitchell and Darant will put themselves in a position to either volley that one ball, and if they can't, they just let it go through and they'll play it off the back.
Now, when Durant and Mitchell are in this position, where do you want to see Bostrom lobbing the ball?
Oh! You know, I actually would love to see him just keep pushing the ball. I want to see Mitchell hit as many overheads as he can hit. Although Darant from that position is less dangerous because he can't cut the ball.
30 all.
Durant gave him that third point.
Hey, no, we're seeing some misses now from Darant Mitchell. This is exactly what Bostrom and Anderson need.
Advantage, Durant.
If you're going to watch technically some things here from, that's perfect. Great lob from Darant. You see how he sets, he cocks his racket up on that overhead. He holds it down low and is able to just push the overhead through or take it and cut it to the side. And it all starts from the same thing. Very hard to read. He just keeps moving you.
This is almost a must-win point for Anderson Bostrom with Mitchell hitting the overheads.
Oh, wow. Just tough to come in second. See a player like Anderson, you mix it up with those guys, it's just hard. I mean, I can't fault him.
No, it's a big component of his game, his blitzing, his speed.
Right.
You just don't want to play those points for the most part.
Correct.
Against Darient.
Unless you're getting the ball down at the service line. That's the only way you can do it. You got to hit it to the service line first. And in that situation, when he blitzed, the ball was kind of even up. You know, it was about net high. It was not down.
Boy, some sloppy misses from Darient Mitchell this game.
No, they're giving him points now.
Anderson Bostrom just have to take advantage of this game.
Agreed.
Rams Kaler in the third set of their first round match.
Yeah, it's a battle. Chris Humphreys, one of the breakout players from last year's season. Good
And
lefty.
Nathan Lefevre.
Advantage, Bostrom, Anderson.
All right, here it is. The break point. Take advantage of these errors. That's a great cutter. Ooh.
Berger-Doya going to a tiebreak first set with Lefevre and Protsenko. That's going to be a fun team this year, Brad. Lefevre and Protsenko. A lot of talent.
I agree. You know, to me, it's
Protsenko's got to deal with his serving issues.
Yeah, that's a big issue. The attack comes and goes from the backcourt. And I love the way Lefevre is a great volleyer, great athlete. Sometimes the offense dries up, you know, comes in bits and pieces. I'd like to see that get consistent from them in the backcourt. They're a good team, though. Really good team.
That forehand comes and goes. A little bit like Benoit Paires, Max's tennis idol.
There you go. Speeding up the point. That's good. See, now he's getting them to do things that he's trying to do more. The point's gotten to a point where Durant's got to try to do more. Now, he may, but this is where you get him to make an error. He's starting to speed things up a little.
And you saw that hard overhead where he was bailing. He was 3 feet behind the service line if Bostrom was going to drive the ball. And then when he saw his lobby close back in.
Yeah, he's great sense of what to do.
Oh, Mitchell with a little guest appearance there.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get your wrist broken.
Well, you hadn't hit a ball in about 20 shots. He's like,
Which tells you something about Bostrom's lobbing.
Great point from Bostrom and Anderson, though.
This is the way they have to play. Although I would like to see Mitchell get the miss.
And there's the miss, and they made him do that, right? They decided in that point they were not going to give it away by hitting the wrong type of shot. Now, the pressure, truthfully, was always coming from Darient and Mitchell, but Bostrom and Anderson just kept plugging away, kept plugging away, kept plugging away, and got the point. That's what they needed. That was it. They showed some mental toughness there.
So Anika Andrekova up a set going into a tiebreak against Morgan Sikora. You can see them on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, so here you see Anderson Bostrom have to continue that patient strategy.
Well, look, if you're going to be in the backcourt for 75% of the match, you have to play super disciplined back there.
Martin Bostrom
Love,
just
15.
cannot try that shot. It's exactly what you were talking about earlier, Brad.
I think you should write him a strongly worded letter, Mark.
I'll get to work on it immediately. Now you see Durant Mitchell switching at the net.
That's a good cutter.
Oh, great dig from Blake Anderson. That's the
Terrific.
highlight one.
Terrific tweener. And actually, he had to play it that way because he wasn't sure where it was going. So he moved in, took a guess, spun back into him, and he played it right between his legs. Beautiful.
Yeah, there were no other options. It wasn't a hot dog play.
Nope. Had no options because couldn't read the spin off of Durant's overhead.
Now, do you think that they're switching at the net and putting Durant overhead in the middle because it's closing time?
I think it's a great assumption. That's a cut. Beautifully done.
So it's the ball that you want him to hit, but you want him to hit it so it's coming down. Oh, he
Called
missed
out.
that one.
Called out. Tough for us to tell. The one danger in hitting the down the line lob is if you're not accurate and it veers to the left a little. When Durant is moving to his right, that's his most dangerous cut overhead.
And I like that play there from Blake Anderson, lobbing the ball back on the through ball.
Yep. Well, we've already discussed how many points they've won off of the off-pace drives and the transition balls. It's basically none.
The other thing is when you drive that through ball against Durant, you know he's standing at the net waiting for you.
Well, you got a host of problems. If he's not, then you're playing transition with him, which isn't also super advisable either.
Yep.
15-30.
Wow, the defending national champions, the women's side, are out. Delmonico Gebbia, 2-4 over Elliot Redesno. There's
All right.
Mitchell
30.
overdoing it a little bit.
Yeah, they're getting a couple of errors. This is their moment to strike. I mean, clearly Durant and Mitchell have given a few plays away, and then Bostrom and Anderson have taken advantage, and that's the key right now. All right,
But there's a fault when he's staying back.
Yep, that's rough.
Just can't do that if you want to win at this level. Both teams switching. Bostrom in the left, Durant at the net in the left.
They're doing a good job now keeping that ball going from Durant, and they're not trying to force the action. That is the key here. If they don't, see, Durant and Mitchell have given them almost nothing. So if you're getting nothing, keep playing until you get what you want. You know, don't force it. And in this case, I think they're starting to learn their moment here, their lesson a little bit.
Eight all in the tiebreak with Le Pavert and Burris-Ordoya. Another miss from Durant.
Yeah, they're getting them. Getting a few now. Nice.
And it looks like Anika Andrekova are through. As I see them walking off the court with their bags. So they would be into the semis.
That's another good new team this year.
I don't know that it's a team or they're just playing here, Brad, but we'll see as the year evolves. And they'll play Hannes Sabori. So last year it was Andrekova Zabori, and this year they'll be playing against each other in the semis. That ball caught the tape. You could see Blake Anderson having to change his grip at the last minute. Missed it. Bad luck there.
But the right kind of point again with no bad shots, so that's good. Nicely done from Bostrom, staying with the backhand volley and playing perfect position.
Rare point with Anderson Bostrom at the net.
Well, Bostrom was able to cut off that first one. It's, yeah, like you said, been one of the few. And that's the move I'd like to see them do a little more of. Have whoever's at the net make a controlled move and try to cut off the volley. If they can't, great, go back. If they can, they finally made it. And that's a good point. They finally got him to play one in the backcourt. Nicely done.
The ball took a strange bounce off the back wire there to Mitchell. You see him look back at the screens.
See, I'd love to see Bostrom and Innocent really work the service game more, meaning Bostrom and Innocent tell each other where they're serving, know exactly what the play is going to be, see if they can throw in a couple of cutoffs.
That's a risky overhead from Darient. He's way off the net hitting that roller.
Good shot at the crease.
First set to Lepaver Poroshenko, 11-9 in the tiebreak.
Wow. That's over our fourth seed there. Poroshenko, nicely done.
Randt, Mitchell.
Another missed lob there for Anderson. That one he shouldn't have missed.
There's not a lot of room for error, and there's the fault.
Game, Randt, Mitchell.
Serving for the match, Stephen Mitchell.
So Brad, what do you think of serving overhand like that when you're staying back? What's the point of risking faulting like that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. He's still trying to challenge him with the serve to some degree. And because they're not both staying back, I think the reasoning is he wants to challenge him, and if Bostrom can cut it off, that's great. But the problem is he threw in 2-3 faults. You know, and a lot of people will play, see, they didn't play two back. I think maybe it's good to either play two back.
Well, given how infrequently been at the net, it just doesn't seem to make sense to risk much.
What's the difference, right?
Yeah. Now it's the first tournament of the year. Maybe they're working on things.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a win, that's not the right strategy. So Kayla Rams with a relatively routine, Brad, 7-5, 6-7, 7-6 win in 3.5 hours.
Yeah, they're basically going to that means we're going to be live streaming till 8 o'clock tonight, probably. Because that's
well, it also
that's
means you'll get
incredible.
to see the men's and the women's final because it will be staggered now.
Yeah. Wow, what a win. That's incredible. Good match. Against two even teams.
With Chris Humphreys, who's got a world of talent just waiting to break through, that's got to be such a frustrating loss.
Yeah.
And that's the type of match that Scott Kaler tends to win. He's just such a great competitor. And again, you see Darient and Mitchell switching at the net to get the Darient overhead in the middle. That's good patience from Bostrom. And I like how they didn't come in behind that ball. Dangerous overhead there.
Oh, that's so nice, though. He's going long and hard.
It's not your play, Bostrom.
30, look.
Yeah, the Bostrom blitz against those two guys, it's questionable at best, actually, to be honest. So, like we talked about, of the things that he's great at, that's not the first one.
15.
That 51 or 53?
Oh, and there it
40,
goes. And you know, it's
15.
funny the way it goes. There it goes. Match point now.
Well, it's almost like when you play a bad point, it costs you 2 points sometimes.
That's how it seems. That's what I was getting at.
30.
Absolutely.
Another match point.
That's a great lob.
Look for Durant Mitchell to switch at the net. First opportunity. And there it is.
It is. And see how easily the top teams do that. You can switch on basically two balls, kind of a side back or a long, long, deep one that you know your opponent's not going to take off the deck. He's hitting it. There it is. Game, set, and match.
Game, set, match. Durant, Mitchell, 6-3.
Durant and Mitchell.
6-3.
You know, Anderson Bostrom are going to be a fun team to watch, and clearly the team I would pick to make the semis and nationals this year of the four, of the teams that didn't make it last year. But there you saw some of the problems they have as a team, where they got away from their game plan a couple of times during the match. Just a couple of sloppy misses.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, you got to give, of course, credit to Durant and Mitchell, who spend 75% of their time at the net and put so much pressure on you with the overhead, so it's tough to control the lobs. But you're right. When the moments came, you know, they just didn't have the answers today, and they didn't have the patience, the discipline to take out Durant and Mitchell today. I mean, like we said, first tournament of the year, though.
Yeah, not a bad match for them. Just a couple of sloppy mistakes at a couple of important moments, and you could see Durant Mitchell really tightening things up in the big moments. So let's talk about the schedule rest of the day. We're going to keep the stream live on one of the other courts. We're going to try and get some of the Le Pavere match. No, we're not going to get the Le Pavere match. Okay, so we're going to be back at 1:30, 2 o'clock, to be determined, with the women's semifinal, and we'll have something up on the screen for everybody.